Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Today we got secret fragrances. That's right, today we've got for you guys 10 different fragrances that you say would absolutely explode in popularity if more people knew about them. Which means that if you're watching this today, you're gonna know by the end 10 different fragrances that all those other Momo McGee's don't know. All those putzes, those doofusinos. So these are fragrances that fly under the radar, but you say they shouldn't. All of these are gonna be linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. Let's get started. And let me know if you agree with your fellow man that these fragrances, if they were, being chucked and sold at your local Macy's right there in the front, that they would be way more popular than they are. Some of these I think absolutely would be. We have first up, Killian McDaniel, QO4XR. You almost have the normal name. He keeps it very simple. Stronger with you, tobacco. So what you may say there is, dude, stronger with you? We all know about stronger with you. And I would say, yeah. Probably nowadays, since Stronger With You is readily available at stores like Macy's, talking about the original and Stronger With You Intensely, Stronger With You Absolutely, that it definitely has more reach here in North America than it used to. Because basically, used to be, with any of those flankers, I mean, you'd be looking at discounters. And a lot of people don't actually really know about discounters. They should, but they don't. I'm not flipping you off. I was doing like a 1-2, but it just kind of messed it up. But when we get to stuff like this, Stronger With You Tobacco, Stronger With You Oud, Stronger With You Leather, Stronger With You Amber, and now Stronger With You Sandalwood, these are Middle Eastern exclusives, which means, yeah, if you're in the Middle East, you probably know about these, right? But if you're in North America and you're not somebody that's really, really knee deep into the fragrance world, you don't know these exist. Do I think Stronger With You Tobacco might be a popular release? I just blasted my hand. If it were more readily available? Yeah, it sure could be. I mean, you look at what's popular right now. A lot of fragrances really sweet, warm, spicy. Like that's one of the most popular scent profiles on the market. That's what this is. I mean, at the end of the day, it is essentially Stronger With You with a tobacco twist, but that could do really, really well. Tobacco fragrances, especially tobacco men's fragrances that do lean more toward that like sweet side of things, traditionally have been really well received. And this one having the Stronger With You name on it just makes it even more likely to succeed. Big time performance, big time attention grabbingness, big time wacky tobacco, big time sweetness. Yeah, it could explode if it were not an exclusive fragrance that is a pain in the butt to get in the US and everywhere that's not the Middle East. One thing I will say about this one is if you're a big fan of the Stronger With You line and you've been thinking about picking this up at a discounter, you may want to do it sooner rather than later. And the only reason I say that is because for a time there, after Stronger With You Oud, Stronger With You Leather came out, you could find them pretty easily at discounters, actually for a not terrible price. But then as time has gone on, they've become very difficult to find, very expensive. Of course, there's been a lot of talk that they're actually discontinued, which would explain why they're hard to find. But if that is the case, then that would mean, on down the line, as time goes on, same thing is gonna happen with this one, which means if you want it, you may wanna scoop it up because eventually it'll become more expensive, more difficult to find, and that just ain't fun for nobody. Now, as I said, this one is really expensive and the only place you can find it is at discounters in the US. And to help take a little bit of sting off those purchase prices, here are some codes you can use to save some money. The JOMASHOP codes only work within the app. Max Aroma has removed one of the codes, only a 10%er now. We weep together. And then of course there is also the perfume box, which has a lot of different fragrances there, Frag Flex. And there are also other stores on there that specialize in clone fragrances, niche fragrances, just about anything you could want. So if you're shopping at any of those sites, use one of those codes, save yourself some money. The next scent comes to us courtesy of Jared Steele, 6229, who says, Gentleman Eau de Parfum Boisée. It's the only one in the line that doesn't seem to get the hype it deserves. It's an absolute masterpiece, 100%. So the Gentleman line, as a lot of you know, is a big favorite of mine. I think this stuff smells fantastic. The Eau de Parfum, Eau de Toilette Intense Reserve Privé, and yes, this one as well. I even like the Eau de Toilette. I think that one is actually pretty wearable, nice, maybe not quite as like bold or interesting for some people as the ones that came after it, but still, what it was made to do, it does pretty well. Now this one was a kind of an interesting one in the sense that like more people go to bat for this fragrance, I feel like, than any of the other gentleman fragrances. Now, yes, Reserve Privé absolutely gets more hype than this one, no doubt. Eau de Toilette Intense gets a lot of love because of that fresh aspect that it has, that little bit of a similarity to Dior Homme Eau. But man, I'll tell you what, people that love this one, they will go to bat for it. They will die on that hill that this is an amazing masterpiece. And I'll tell you what, it is really, really, really good as long as you like iris. Yes, a little bit powdery, a little sweet, along with that cacao melding together with the iris. You also have a good amount of woody notes in here. There's sandalwood, there's cedar and patchouli, a little bit of pepper off the top as well. I'd say it's about a 3-season fragrance, fall, winter, and spring. During summer, you know, not quite as fresh as you might want, but still a wonderful scent, classy, sexy, well done, great quality. Would it explode in popularity? I think that it's a little bit more of a specific type of scent for a lot of people, but iris has been getting more popular. You can see that in the Le Male line, for example. Le Male Le Parfum made use of iris. That one did very, very well. So who knows? Crazier things have happened. And the scent itself is absolutely fantastic. Let's see, what do we have next? We got Becoming ABBA. And they say, undoubtedly, Polo 67. The versatility on that fragrance is killer. And Polo 67 is one that I like a bunch. I think especially for the price point that this is a great buy for a lot of people out there. It is vaguely reminiscent of myself, YSL myself, kind of similar to that one in some ways, mainly just in the sense that it has that kind of clean aspect, much in the same way that myself has. But this one has a little bit more of a sweet, fruity opening to it with pineapple and citrus. As it dries down, you've got juniper and sage, gives it a nice aromatic twist. And then you have vetiver and a bit of patchouli as it dries down. Definitely more of a clean patchouli, you know, no dirty, earthy, hippie vibes or anything like that. As he says, versatility is killer. You can wear this pretty much anywhere, anytime. Yes, it's more of a spring, summertime fragrance, but if you're going somewhere that's air conditioned, it doesn't really matter. Big compliment puller, not expensive at all. And I think this is one that as time has gone on, it's actually picked up a little momentum and gotten a little bit more popular. When it first launched, a lot of people were like, Polo 67 is probably gonna be kind of boring, who cares? But as more people have smelled it, more people have worn it, the popularity of this one has increased. And if as time goes on, this becomes more affordable at discounters, talking somewhere in that like $50 range or something, it would be an absolutely unbeatable buy for somebody looking for a versatile, easy to wear, compliment pulling scent. It's office safe, it's also a great casual fragrance, and during the warmer months, if you wanted to, you can wear this in a more formal situation and it's gonna work. And like I said, even at full retail, pretty cheap compared to most other things out there. So Polo 67, yeah, that stuff slaps. Up next, we have NFVB 16, who says, I'm always amazed at how little people talk about Bad Boy Extreme, a fantastic cool weather scent. Well, you know, for a lot of Bad Boy fragrances, they don't actually really get talked about all that much. Just kind of how it is when we're talking Bad Boy. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, no problems, no problems. Just trying to do a split over here. So when it comes to the Bad Boy line, basically it's like Bad Boy Cobalt, that's the most popular. After that, the original Bad Boy. And then a lot of the other ones are just kind of fighting for like third place, and it's like kind of a distant third place. The new Bad Boy Elixir is not too bad. I like that one too. And I will say, I actually like Bad Boy Extreme. I think this stuff is pretty good. Pretty good. It grows on you, it is strong, which a lot of people are looking for. So I mean, big time longevity and projection here, easily gets you noticed, cuts through the cold. And it's got this great chocolatey, almost like nutty aspect to it. So officially, in terms of the notes, there is cacao, so that's that chocolatey vibe. There's also tonka, there's patchouli, incense, olibanum, plum, vetiver, just a bunch of different things going on here. But it does have, like I said, this kind of like decadently sweet, but very lively opening that has a bit of a nutty aspect that's gonna draw it in with some of the other popular fragrances out there nowadays that utilize, you know, hazelnut, chestnut, stuff like that. And because of that liveliness, that like zingy aspect that it has, it's almost like little bits of Invictus Victory Elixir in here, combined with the Bad Boy DNA, with that little bit of plum sprinkled along the edges of the scent. And it's actually really, really nice. And I would say one of my favorite Bad Boy fragrances. I think this one is right up there with Cobalt, with Elixir. Definitely a different fragrance than Cobalt. They don't smell anything alike. I'm just talking about in terms of the overall line itself. And yeah, it gets overlooked sometimes, but it's actually very nice. Spencer Langbian, 4085. He says, Narciso Rodriguez Blue Noir Parfum. It is the best everyday fragrance in that thick, heavy Iris family. And actually the Blue Noir line got mentioned a few times. So like the Eau de Parfum got mentioned, this one got mentioned. I think maybe the original got mentioned also. And what he's referencing there, the best everyday fragrance in that thick, heavy Iris family is fragrances like Dior Homme Intense, Valentino Uomo Intense, Gentleman Eau de Parfum Intense. No, I'm just playing. The original Eau de Parfum. So that style of iris, you know, that kind of creamy, heavy, as he says, thick iris note, you know, where it's really like the forefront of the fragrance, the spotlight of the fragrance is on that iris. This one is one of those types of scents. Now, it's not just iris. There's also tonka here. There's sandalwood, there's leather, cardamom, cypress, and a little bit of citrus as well. But it definitely does get overlooked compared to those others, which kind of makes sense because, you know, Dior Homme Intense, it's Christian Dior, pretty big. Valentino Uomo Intense, Valentino is bigger than Narciso Rodriguez if we're talking fragrances. Same thing with Givenchy. So any of those are gonna have a little more name recognition for your average person. And the quality here is very good. It's got a nice touch of sweetness to it. It is a powdery type of iris, so you have to like that. But that bit of woodiness that it has, the sweet spices that it has, does make it very appealing and potentially more wearable for a lot of people than those others, which are gonna be a little bit more heavy, a little bit more density to them. And those ones a lot of times come across like with more of a sense of occasion and the sense of being more of a formal type fragrance a lot of times for a lot of people. This one you could wear casually, maybe a little bit easier than some of those. Now, all that being said, it is not quite as strong as some of them. So like Dior Homme Intense definitely has got a little more pop to it, but this one is criminally overlooked if you are a fan of that type of iris. Next up, we have a fragrance chosen by Nick Barak. 7518 reminds me of Brack from Space Ghost. Throwing it back a little bit there, the Brack show. He says, any of the Dunhills. So I picked a Dunhill. You can't say any of the Dunhills because that's a lot of different fragrances. And to be frank, some of them kind of suck, but they do have some really, 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 really good ones. So the one that I have right here is Amalfi Citrus, which you can't find anywhere on the bottle itself, you know by the color, but if you take the cap off, it's got the name right there. This one at discounters, you can find for like 50 bucks, low 50s. That's for the full presentation. And at that price point, it is an insane deal, like crazy good. They also have a bunch of other fragrances in this line right here, like their signature collection. And you can get pretty much all of them for about that price. Sometimes even less. You can find them in like the 40s. And look guys, those Dunhill fragrances at that price are legitimately stealing. Like it's crazy how good the quality is versus the price that you end up paying. So if you've never smelled any of them, which I'm assuming a whole bunch of you haven't, because it's not like you're gonna walk into your local Perfumania or Sephora or wherever and get your nose on these, but you can check them out like online, look up the note breakdowns and what they've been compared to as far as how they smell and kind of figure out which ones might work better for you. And like I said, at the price you can get them for, stupid good. So let's hit the note breakdown on this one really quickly. Whole bunch of citrus, not a surprise. Amalfi Citrus is the name after all. So you've got bergamot, You've got mandarin orange, bitter orange, lemon. There's also tea, neroli, jasmine, rosemary, and some woods in there as well. Smells a little bit like Barbados Artisan Pure. You know, a little bit similar to something like Neroli Portofino from Tom Ford. Not the exact same, but kind of in that style. So if you like one, you'll probably like the other. You can tell here, I mean, even the coloration, like a little bit green. So it's, yes, very citrusy, but more of that like sharp citrus. Not like a floofy kind of overly sweet synthetic citrus. You know, it's got like a little bite to it, but in a very crisp, clean, classy way. So yeah, like I said, a little bit green, as you can tell by the coloration. So you've got that going on as well. Nice floral notes in there. Absolutely a high-end smelling summertime fragrance. If your average fragrance person realized how cheap these were, the whole lineup, and how good they were, they would definitely find a couple there that work for them and be ecstatic. So there is a little Dunhill. Oh, and since I mentioned Perfumania, you know what else you can find there? My fragrances. I am horribly biased because I did creatively direct those, which is why I don't mention them a whole heck of a lot. I know it seems like I should mention them more, but yeah, these ones right here, South Slope, Edgewater, West Loop, Jet Black Enigma, Terra Nova. You can find all 5 of those in every Perfumania store in the country, in the United States, and also every fragrance outlet. So stop in, give them a smell. You can also find them at Michael Model's website, which is linked in the description. And I'm coming out with 2 more eventually, whenever I finally wrap them up. That's what all these are. Each one of these is a potential fragrance, but yeah. They didn't get selected. Oh, it smells kind of like a Montal. Let's keep going. Craig A. Pugh says, Brioni Intense is an underrated fragrance for sure. Fruity, oody, all in all, a wonderful scent. Hard agree. This one is really, really good. Different than pretty much all the other mainstream designer fragrances out there in terms of how it comes across, but still very appealing. Has a lot of fruit in the opening. Very sweet, appealing, lightly syrupy, but in a very, very pleasant way. So you got a lot of apple in there off the top, along with citrus, touch of fresh spice. And then you have oud as it dries down, along with vanilla as well. Also have some saffron in there, a little bit of patchouli. So it's an oud fragrance, yes, but not one that comes across unappealing, difficult to wear, you know, not too dark, not too barnyardy, nothing like that. So it has mass appeal, but decently strong. And even though it has mass appeal, it kind of, like I said, walks that line of being pretty unique compared to most other designers as well. RCS Fragrance says, Polo Deep Blue is the perfect summer scent. I was on a cruise ship 2 years ago and got a ton of compliments. I'm 55 years old, and it was the young women that gave me the most compliments. Last year, I was on vacation in Sweden and got several compliments. Fellas, hide your ladies from RCS Fragrance. He's 55 years old, but he ain't letting that stop him. The young women, they give him the most compliments. The Swedish ladies, they ain't safe either. Watch out for this man. This man is vacationing somewhere near you. You're in trouble. He's bringing the Polo Deep Blue, and ain't nobody gonna stop him. Make it sound like a thundering herd getting closer. God, is that hundreds of women rushing to me right now? God. Oh my God. There's thousands of them. Gotta get rid of this. That was close. RCS Fragrance. He ain't lying, that's a close call. So if you wanna know how this smells, it has mango as one of the notes, along with citrus, of course, aquatic notes as well. A little cypress in there, ambroxan, additional woods, a little bit of an aromatic touch to it. Performance is not too shabby. Smells a bit similar to Acqua di Gio Profondo, the original Acqua di Gio Profondo, so kind of in that style. It is a really good one for spring, summertime. Great daytime fragrance, also a good transitional fragrance like daytime into evening, and it will get you all the compliments in the world. Byron, B-Y-R-Y-N, says Moncler Sunrise pour Homme. And this is actually one that I like a whole lot as kind of a hidden gem, very versatile compliment puller. That type of scent, just kind of a everyday easy wear fragrance. That's what this is. And if you could find this for a good price from discounters, it would absolutely be worth scooping up. The problem is it's not usually readily available in the US at discounters, or at least it hasn't been. I think it may start popping up a little bit more as time goes on, so something to keep your eyes open for. In terms of notes, you've got citrus in there, pink pepper, a little bit of suede, some sage, vetiver, nutmeg, and incense. And it's interesting because it could remind you of a few different things. It's kind of like fresh, woody, spicy, a little bit Aventus-y as well, like Absolute Aventus, a touch of that. It doesn't go overly sweet, which I really like, you know, having something that you can wear from time to time that is modern, that's fresh, but it doesn't, you know, hammer you with like bubble gum and sugar. It's good to have something like that from time to time, and this does that really well. So as I said, this stuff under the radar, I think one of the better under the radar versatile scents. And as I said, it could remind you of bits and pieces of like 10 different things out there. Little Absolute Aventus, little Dior Sauvage, little Dior Homme 2020, but on its own, smells great. Last but not least, Vin's Gons Old Guy. Vin's Gons Old Guy. Old, yeah. Boss Bottled Triumph Elixir. I think the Hugo Boss marketing department dropped the ball here. It's different than other stuff being released, but still has familiar enough DNA to have been bigger. And yeah, this one almost got skipped over, right? Like Boss Bottled Elixir came out and everybody was like, oh, this is really good. Then that came out and everyone went, all right. And then Boss Bottled Absolute came out and everyone went, oh, this is really good. So that kind of fell in between and everybody just said, let's not talk about that. I actually do really like the way the fragrance smells, but it is patchouli heavy. So you do have to like a little bit of that patchouli. Now it's a little sweeter than just like a straight up, very earthy, heady kind of patchouli, but it still is noticeably patchouli. There's also violet leaf in here, along with a little bit of vetiver, one of those simplistic note breakdowns. And as I said, I do like it. I think it smells very nice. A good little change of pace, you know, similarities to Boss Bottled Elixir, also faint similarities due to the violet to like some of the Fahrenheit releases, but it essentially fell between two monsters, which caused it to kind of fall by the wayside. It is worth checking out though, especially if you're a fan of the line or you're a fan of violet and a good dose of patchouli in your scents. And it's one that maybe I'll bust out this week. I'll go ahead and wear this one. So there we go, guys. There's some fragrances that you say should be bigger than they are, that they would explode in popularity if only more people knew about them. Thank you everybody that left your submissions, and thank you everyone that upvoted other people's. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another, stay care. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.